Star Wars Lego sets are beloved all around the world, but arguably there is a sub-theme in the world of Lego Star Wars that is the most beloved. There is a series of sets that fans just go crazy over, and I'm talking about the UCS Ultimate Collector Series Lego sets. These are those really large, really expensive Lego Star Wars sets. Typically we see one every year getting released, and they depict some of the most iconic vehicles, ships, locations, and different things in the Star Wars universe. These are sets that are packed with detail, with thousands of pieces, many minifigures in some cases, and make for some of the most beautiful display pieces in the world of Lego Star Wars, and also overall in the world of Lego. But if you are a collector of the UCS Lego Star Wars sets, you've probably gone and tried to get some of the older sets and realized that today some of the values are insane on eBay or Amazon. If you go to try and find some of these old retired UCS sets, you'll notice that the price has multiplied from the original price, and that is of course because after Lego sets stop getting manufactured, we see prices go up, but the demand on UCS sets tends to stick with us long into retirement. This is a series of sets that is packed with collectability, and as new fans get involved in the world of Lego Star Wars and start buying the latest UCS sets, it is inevitable they're going to want to go back and get the old Awing or Ywing or X-Wing or the Death Star, and some of these sets have multiplied in value since then. And since I like to nerd out about Lego values, I wanted to actually have a look at the current state of the Lego UCS market. What are some of these sets selling for today? And I want to look at some of the most recent retirees. So some of the sets that have retired since 2017 up until now. What values are we seeing today on these sets? And if you were to invest in those sets when they were available in retail stores, would you have made a great return on investment? So that's what we're doing here today, and we have 9 different Lego Star Wars UCS sets that we're going to quickly jump through and look at the price history over time and see what has happened with these sets. Now, I do want to call out that this is going to be Amazon US numbers. If you are located in a different market, you will see different results. I will also mention the current eBay selling prices as well. So let's just jump straight in here into these UCS sets, and the first one we're going to look at is the Assault on Hoth. This is 75098. This is a set that retired in 2017, so we're going back a while now, but some people do hold their Lego investments for that long. We are now in the 7th year of retirement on the Assault on Hoth set, of course. This is a set that was $250 of MSRP, and it had 2,144 pieces with 15 minifigures, 11 unique minifigures in this set. Absolutely packed with detail. How can you not love any set that depicts the Battle on Hoth, the iconic scene, of course, from The Empire Strikes Back, which of course is most people's favorite Star Wars movie of all time. This set was on the shelves for about a year and a half, was released in May 2016, retired at the end of 2017. So what is the current price on Amazon on this one right now? We're seeing a $685 buy box right now on Amazon. And again, this was a $250 purchase price right there. So we're seeing a substantial increase in the price on this one. Now, if we look at this price chart, it doesn't look all that epic because it is stretched over such a long period of time. And when you have so many years to look at, it looks like the price hasn't gone up a whole lot, but in reality, it actually has gone up a lot. It's just been over a slow period of time. So if we look back at 2017, we see on Amazon it was selling for around $325. It was still available in stores at that time, but Amazon didn't have it in stock. So even though you could have got it for $250 in the Lego store, it was selling for $320 or $325 on Amazon. And it retired right around here at the end of 2017. Now we see that it's actually been slow growth since then. We're looking at the blue and the pink lines here. The blue line is the low price in new condition, and the pink line is the buy box, which basically just means that big buy button on the listing, which typically does get the most sales. So the pink line is usually my source of truth, but sometimes the buy box is actually removed by Amazon, and then we look at the blue line. So the blue and pink lines here are the price, and we can see it going up over time. It did take a couple of years. It really wasn't until 2020 that we really see some price growth on this. The reason for that is slow sales, because during 2018 and 2019, I can see that there really wasn't many sales on this set. The green line here shows us the sales rank, and it was not dropping a whole lot during these 2 years. That means that this listing was not really selling. Now, what likely happened here is that there was an issue with the Amazon listing causing this lack of sales, because typically we definitely would be seeing sales happening, as you will see when we look at some of these other UCS sets and look at the sales rank after the first couple of years of retirement. I expect that there was an issue with the listing here, and when they resolved it, we do see sales start to pick up throughout 2020 and into 2021. We can see that price growth, and by here at the end of 2020 it was selling for $600. Now, since then, it has gone up quite a lot more, but it has dropped back down again. By the end of 2022, it was selling for $900. But again, we don't really see sales happening at that price. So it was selling for $600 at the end of 2020. And over the next couple of years, we see the price going up a lot more, but then coming back down again. And recently we're selling for $685, and we do see sales happening at that $685 mark. So again, this was a $250 purchase price. If you bought it for $250, you sold it for $685, at that point you're doing quite well. You do need to pay your Amazon fees, of course, and this is a long hold time. So if you're storing it yourself, you got to account for your storage costs and inflation over a long period of time, of course. But still, we're talking about a really good return on your investment here at this point. If you're selling for $685, you bought it for $250, but really you probably got it for 20% off, because most of us, we get deals on our Lego sets. We don't pay full MSRP. So if you bought it for 20% off and you're selling it for $685, even when accounting for your costs, you're doing pretty well. Now, I would say that this is too long for me personally to hold a Lego set. I don't like to hold for 7 years, but I still think it's interesting to go back and learn from these sets and learn what they've done over time so that we can know when would have been the best time to sell this. In my opinion, the best time to sell this would have been the end of 2020 right here, when it was selling for $620. But of course, timing it perfectly is not always that easy. So that is the first set we're looking at here, and that is the Assault on Hoth. Moving into the second set, we're talking about the TIE Fighter. This is 75095, 1,685 pieces with one unique minifigure. It was a $200 set, retired in the same year of December 2017. And this is probably more like what you think when you think of UCS sets. I personally kind of think the Assault on Hoth does not really belong in the UCS series, but here we're looking at a standard UCS ship, and this is of course the TIE Fighter. This one was released in May of 2015 and retired at the end of 2017, so it's 2.5 years on the shelves. And what's happening with the price of the TIE Fighter? Right now we're seeing a buy box price on Amazon of $472, and again, this was a $200 purchase price. So it is over double its MSRP, but it took a long time to get there, and really we're seeing a lot of slow growth here. We are once again seeing slow sales in the beginning, and again, we could have had some Amazon price problems here. We could have also had some Keepa tracking problems, because I'm using a tool called Keepa, which shows me the price history and the sales rank history, and sometimes they don't have all of the tracking information. Recently we see a ton of sales even at $472, but back here in 2018, 2019, we do see some periods where this listing was not really selling. But in 2020, once again, we see some price growth here, and we almost hit double MSRP right here in mid 2020. Now again, by that point in mid 2020, you would have stored this for probably 2.5 years, because again, it retired at the end of 2017. But then again, if you bought it for 20% off at this point, you're doing pretty well if you're selling it for $390, which is almost double of the MSRP. Now after 2020, we have a couple more years of kind of price fluctuations, and right now in 2024 we see it selling for $465. So again, this was a $200 purchase price. In my opinion, it was not the greatest example of a high-performing Lego investment, and mostly the reason for that is just that it took too long to become a good investment. You would have had to hold for multiple years before you're even doubling your money on this one. Now you of course are doubling your money if you're selling it for $472, and even if you bought it at full MSRP of $200, now you're doubling your money. But we don't want to wait 6 to 7 years to double our money in Lego investing. We can do it a lot faster by picking the right sets. So here it was just a slow burn, of course, and if you bought it at a good discount, you would have gotten there sooner. But this is certainly not the best one on the list here, mostly because of how long that this would have had to be in storage. Jumping into the next set, and we're talking about the Snowspeeder. This is 75144, released in May 2017. This one retired in 2018, so we're now moving up a year into 2018 retirement. 1,703 pieces with 2 unique minifigures, and Snowspeeder, another iconic ship and another great example of what I think of when I think of Ultimate Collector Series Star Wars sets. This was a $200 MSRP. In my opinion, the detail is a little bit lacking on this. I would have expected a little more. There's a lot of studs. I don't like seeing so many studs sometimes when you're paying high prices for sets, but I think designs in the last couple of years have improved. Again, we're talking about a 2017 set here, and we're going back a little while. So if we jump into the price on this one, we do see kind of a more of a standard price chart here. This looks a little bit more normal, what we expect to see when a Lego set retires. We do see the price climbing steadily after retirement on this set. And just to remove the green here so we can easily see the price action, if we look back here in 2018, we see Amazon had stock of this set. So they were selling it for $200 right here where you see the orange color. Amazon sold out right here toward the end of 2018. And then over the course of the next year, we do see the price growing. So Amazon had it for $195 right before retirement. And then it was selling for $300 just a couple months later. So we're talking about in the first couple of months of the first year of retirement here. So it was retired for 3 months and it was selling for $320. So already here, you're doing okay, right? It's already 50% up over the MSRP. And again, you may have gotten a better deal on it than that. Now, it was kind of flat for the rest of that first year of retirement throughout 2019, but in 2020, we see this set take off like a rocket. And in the second half of 2020, we see this set selling for $490. Now, again, you could have bought it for $200 here in 2018. And just 2 years later, or a year and a half really after retirement, it was selling for $490, more than double your money. And if you bought it at a discount, you're talking more like 120, 130% return at that point. Now, this would have been a pretty good time to sell the set and take your returns, but we do see the price going a little bit flat over next year. We did have a massive surge at the start of 2021 up to $600, but then it fell back a little bit again. And it took the rest of the year at a flat price before we really saw some of those lowball sellers sell out, and then we see the price take another quick jump up here, and the price ended up peaking here at $750 in April of 2022. That is the all-time peak. It has not gotten back to that price. It actually has come back down again. We see it selling for $670 for most of 2022, but then in Q4 we see a bit of a drop here in the price. And over the course of the last year in 2023 and today, we see it selling more like $587. Now that's still not bad. That is still almost 3 times the MSRP, but we are past the best time to sell this set. I would have preferred to sell it back here, back in 2021 when you only held it for just over 2 years, or in 2020 when you only held it for a year and a half. That would have been great times to sell this set. But of course, hindsight is 2020. That is the Snowspeeder. Now, I did mention at the start that I was going to share some eBay prices on these sets. I will do all of that at the end. At the end of this, I'm just going to give you a list of the eBay prices on all of these UCS sets. You can compare the Amazon prices with the eBay prices and see what the differences are. Now, the next set we're talking about is SlaveOne. So this is 75060, and this is a set that retired in December of 2018. One of my all-time favorite UCS sets because I'm such a fan of the SlaveOne in general. It is such a beautiful and unique ship, and I'm always a fan of SlaveOne Lego sets. I love the way that they've used so many smooth parts throughout this design. We do have a lot of studs here, but nothing to the level that we just saw with this Snowspeeder. This had 1,996 pieces and 4 minifigures. 3 of them are unique to this set, and it was a $200 MSRP in the US. So again, this retired at the end of 2018, the same time as the Snowspeeder. But the current price on this one is $659. So again, $200 price up to $659. So a similar performance, but is currently outperforming the Snowspeeder that retired at the same time as it. Removing the sales rank here so we can actually see this price a little bit better. And once again, we're seeing Amazon in stock up until the end of 2018 on this for $200. And then we see this price rising over the first year up to $317. And in a second year of retirement, we see this price really taking off to $474 right here after a year and a half of retirement. So at that point, even after paying your fees, you're doubling your money if you bought it at full retail. If you bought it at 20% off, you're doing a lot better than that. So that's a year and a half of hold time for a double up on SlaveOne. However, watch what happened over the next year. So that's $470. But in 2021, we see this price hitting $690 right there at the start of 2021. Now, at that point, you've held it for just 2 years. You could have bought it for $200 or probably less if you got a deal on it. And now you're selling it for $690. So this is a phenomenal investment. Now, since then, it has been flat. So that would have been the best time to sell this. And we do see a little bit of price growth over the next year. In 2022, it was at $757, and that is around the peak, the all-time peak of this set, because since then it's come back a little bit to $659. Now, we're still over triple the MSRP now, but we've wasted extra time, right? I would have preferred to take my gains back a couple of years ago and then invested in new retiring Lego sets. But back here, we're seeing $757 for the SlaveOne. And again, the sales rank down here, these green lines you see in the middle chart, the fact that we have so many squiggly lines tells me that there's a lot of sales happening. So even at these prices, even at $757, we're seeing a ton of sales happening on this set. The demand for SlaveOne UCS, of course, if you're a UCS collector, you're going to want this in your collection, and we have seen a phenomenal investing performance because of that. Next up, we're looking at the Ywing. This is 75181 with 1,967 pieces, 2 minifigures, both unique, retired at the end of 2019. This was another $200 MSRP. But what is going on with the price on Amazon right now? We're seeing a current buy box of $600. Now we're seeing similar action here. So Amazon were in stock right up until retirement at the end of 2019, and then we see some really nice price growth in the first year, up to $491 right there in the first year of retirement. So once again, we're seeing 5 months for more than double of the MSRP. Some of these UCS sets just really skyrocket over those first couple of months. Now we see it take a little while to go much further than that because the price was flat in the second half of that year. But throughout the second year of retirement in 2021, we see it getting up to $615. At that point, again, you're 3x the MSRP. That would have been a great time to sell. However, over the next year in 2022, we see it go further, and we see the peak right here at $816. And for most of this year, we do see it selling somewhere in the 700 range, and then it came back down right at the end of the year here. Now, since then, we see it go up again and come down again. So since then, it's been a little bit flat overall, and a good time to sell this would have been back here somewhere in mid 2022 if you had held it for 2.5 years and you were selling it for $750 after buying it for $200 at MSRP, or if you got a discount, of course, you're doing even better. Now let's look at the next one. It is the Death Star. This is 75159, retired at the end of 2020 with 4,016 pieces. This was a big step up in terms of value and scale. This was a $500 set. Now 9 of these minifigures were unique, 27 minifigs in total. Absolutely phenomenal set. Just so much playability in this one, and so many of the iconic scenes that you remember from the movies are included here in the Death Star. What is going on with the price on this one? We see some significant growth on this one. It was here available at $500 in 2019. Throughout 2020, because stock dried up, even though it had not yet fully retired, we do see prices starting to jump. But during the retirement, it happened right here. We see phenomenal price growth on this. In the first year of retirement on this set, we see the price going up to $1,400. So in the span of 7 months, we see a $500 set hitting $1,400 on Amazon in the US. And we've got people in our community who were investors in this one and sold it at those prices. We had conversations about that when it happened. People selling this set for $1,400, having bought it for less than $500. After just 7 months. So phenomenal price growth on the Death Star. You can really see that nice growth right there. Now from there, it did drop a little bit down to around $1,200, but then it went back up again. It peaked right here at around $1,700, and again recently it is selling for around $1,600, and there is actually sales happening at that $600 price. Now this is a case where we do see a bit of price disparity. The eBay price is lower than this, and the Bricklink price is lower again. We will talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes here. But next up, we're going to look at the Awing. This is 75275. This is the 2021 retired UCS set. 1,673 pieces and 1 unique minifigure. It was a $200 set, so we're going back to that $200 MSRP here with the Awing. What is going on with the price on this one? We see it was in stock with Amazon right up until retirement at the end of 2021. They had it for $200. Over the course of the first year of retirement, we see it hitting $380 here on Amazon. Since then, it's been a little bit flat. Over 2023, it was pretty flat, but more recently in 2024, it has had a little bit of price growth again, reaching around $430, and now it's at $419. So it's over double MSRP. If you bought this set in the end of 2021, you would have had about a 2-year hold time, and if you got it for a little bit of a discount, you're likely at 100% return or close to it. with this one, so it's not bad, but by comparison with the Death Star, it's a little bit underwhelming what we're seeing here with the Awing. I was an investor in this. I did like this set. There were some complainers about the Awing at the time. I remember, like, in the community, it wasn't the most beloved Star Wars UCS set of all time, but I was always a fan of it, and I did invest in it, and I did reasonably well with that investment. Next up, we're going to look at the Imperial Star Destroyer. This is 75252, and this is the set that retired at the end of 2022. So this one has only been retired for a while. It was a $700 set, 4,784 pieces, and 2 minifigures. Now, this is not the most expensive UCS set ever released, because we do have the Millennium Falcon still available today, but this is the most expensive one to ever retire, because it was $200 more than that Death Star that we just looked at. So what is going on with the price on Amazon of this one? If we look at this listing, we see that even before this set retired, it was selling at an inflated price because Amazon did not have it in stock. So here in 2021 and 2022, we see it selling for somewhere around $790 at times, but it retired right here at the end of 2022, and we do see a very, very quick rise in price. So again, this was a $700 set. You could have bought it in a Lego store for $700 right here, and by January of 2023, which is the first month of retirement, it was selling for $1,250 on Amazon. So that's a $500 increase over the MSRP in weeks, just weeks of retirement, because of course the supply dried up very, very quickly on this one. And we do see sales, again, if we look at this green chart down here in the middle, we do see sales happening even at these $1,200 prices just months into retirement. Now, toward the end of the first year of retirement, we see it hitting $1,379. And this year, which is about a year and a half into retirement, now we see the price at around $1,471, which is double the MSRP, because again, it was a $700 set. So if you're able to get a discount on this, now you're doing really well with this as an investment. The fees are going to be high. If you're selling for something for $1,400 on Amazon, you're going to have pretty high fees. So you're not quite doubling your money yet. If we do that calculation, if you sell it for $1,471, even if you paid a little bit under MSRP, you're not quite doubling your money, but you're doing well. And I love the amount of profit you would make from a single sale, because of course we're talking about high numbers here. So that is the second last UCS set that has retired up until now. And the final one here, most recent set to retire, is the Republic Gunship 75309, retired at the end of 2023. This had 3,292 pieces and 2 minifigures, one of them unique. This was a $400 set. So again, we're talking about a higher price than the average here. Most of these sets were $200, but of course, tons more pieces, a very, very detailed depiction of the Gunship here. What is happening with this price if we look at this listing on Amazon? Now, we do see the price was at around $400 in 2022, but what is happening with this price on Amazon? Now, if we look at Amazon here, we do see that it was selling on Amazon for around a little bit above the MSRP, around $440, even before it retired. Once again, Amazon didn't have stock of it, so what happens is it goes to the third-party sellers and they mark it up just a little bit. But it retired right here at the end of 2023. We do see the price quickly going up here to around $575. And then in the first couple of months of 2024, we see it going a bit flat, and now it's just at around $600. Recently it was $610, right now it's $585, so it will definitely jump back up above $600 very, very soon. So again, it's a $400 set. Current price on Amazon around $600. If you got a discount on it, you're doing okay. But I personally would wait a little bit longer for a better return, because some of the fees and different things will eat up some of my profits. And I do think that this will do much better given a little bit more time. So that is the UCS Republic Gunship. Now let's jump in and talk about some eBay prices super quick here. And here you can just screenshot this. I've got a list of the sets that we just looked at, all of the Amazon price charts. On eBay, I don't have a tool that can look back that far in history and tell me what the price was over time. So I've just got the current prices and calculated out the current return on investment here for you. So we can see the Assault on Hoth, for example, MSRP was $250. eBay price right now is $517, and that is based on recent sales on eBay, not just listings, actual sales on eBay. Now, I included a 20% discount here as well to help us with the calculation, because I don't pay full price for my Lego sets. I typically pay at least 20% off. Mostly I get even better deals than that. But I think it's more realistic when I'm calculating return on investments to use discounted prices, because it is closer to reality for me. So if you paid $200 for the Assault on Hoth, that it would be a 20% discount, then your eBay return on investment will be approximately 120%, and that is when we account for all the fees and different things you would have to pay to eBay. You would be walking away with approximately 120% return on investment. TIE Fighter, we see it being a little bit worse, and again, this is a long hold time, so this is really not the best investment. You are making money, of course. You're not even doubling up after holding it for multiple years. Snowspeeder, current price on eBay $401 and 113% return on investment. SlaveOne, current price of $517.50, return on investment of 175%, which makes it the best on the list, but you did have to hold that for a couple of years as well. Ywing Starfighter, 144% current return on investment at a $459 current eBay price. Death Star right now on eBay is selling for about $1,047. That is 122% if you bought it for 20% off. Awing currently selling for $312. Which is a 66% return. And again, this just retired 2 years ago, so it's not terrible. Imperial Star Destroyer just retired over a year ago and is now selling for $1,075 on eBay, of a 63% return on investment. And the most recent set to retire is the Republic Gunship, and on eBay currently selling for $442, which is just a little above MSRP. I definitely want to wait longer for this, but you are at about an 18% return if you manage to get a discount on this set of 20%. And if you do buy your Lego sets for full MSRP, you could redo this calculations, but this one definitely is not going to be profitable, but most of the others will still be profitable, of course, if you paid full MSRP. What we are seeing is that Amazon prices are higher. We do typically note that, but we do still see a lot of cases where you can get more than 100% return on eBay for these UCS sets. Many of them have been very, very strong investments, as we've seen. So I hope that you found this useful. And UCS sets, whether you hate them or you love them, you definitely can't ignore them. Let me know in the comments down below, are you an investor in Lego UCS sets? And if you want to learn more about Lego investing and building actual business by buying Lego sets before values skyrocket, I've got a completely free guide in the description down below. This is my 5-step process for building a Lego investing business. You can grab that in the description. And once again, thank you so much for being here. I'm Shane from brickbucks.net, and make this your year to lift off and be free.